Darla ignored her disapproval. There was that thing with the curling iron at her house in elementary school. She couldn't grow hair back in that patch for like 2 months. Then there was the time that you bludgeoned the ever-loving hell out of her crush because he was showing her his naughty parts and you just so happened to walk into the boys' bathroom, which still goes unexplained to this day. Then there was a time that you lit her backpack on fire in the parking lot because you said learning is the work of Jesus and Jesus is a nerd, hail intergalactic space Satan, and she lost all of her textbooks and notes. She thinks you're a natural disaster. Your mere presence keeps her in check. I cannot be known as PP, Darla. I didn't even make the connection. I didn't think I'd ever have to say this, but thank you. You've saved my reputation. Forget it. I'm back to Siobhan for now. Fine, whatever. Neon sounded dumb anyway. Fuck you, Darla, cried Siobhan, now taking the broken cigarillo out of her mouth and tossing it aside. Neon already had some street cred. It'll take me a long time to build that reputation back. You sold like 3 CDs, Siobhan, by force. Now quit avoiding the question. When are you coming back? I don't know. Something came up. What? What could have possibly come up in this shithole paradise of trailer trash that could keep you from school? Darla asked incredulously. I had a weird dream. Kinda has me worried about my state of mind. I may just need another few days. She took out another cigarillo and put it on the ground so the end stuck skyward, and then looked around for the sun. The idea was simple enough, but Darla didn't think the execution would be so simple. Siobhan crouched down and harnessed the very power of the sun to light the smoke. Only it was taking some time. A dream? You're not going back to school because of a dream? Asked Darla, smushing her face with the palm of her hand. You have to be fucking with me. No, I fuck you not. The dream felt like it wasn't even my own. I think I'm reading way too much hentai dick smasher, said Siobhan, shaking the magnifying glass in impatient rage. Hentai, senpai? Said Darla, her fists going to her mouth to stifle a giggle. Of course you're reading it. It's like a drug for your lady parts. All because you scratch your record while reading it doesn't mean I do. Casey writes much better stuff that doesn't involve cock and balls, said Siobhan, triumph spreading across her face as tendrils of smoke clawed their way through the wrappings of the cigarillo, only to let out a squeak as Darla grabbed her by the shoulders and shook her. What? What are you talking about? Casey only writes about hentai dick smasher. His biggest fan would know otherwise, said Darla, her eyes wide and peering directly into Siobhan. Neither noticed that Darla had crushed the cigarillo into the gravel with her advance. The sudden movement shocked Siobhan into silence, a sensation she never knew. Darla, have you, the biggest Casey fan, not read Darkbrush, wrinkled the toadstool? Have you ever clicked on the scrap folder? Said Siobhan, letting out a breath while Darla's iron grip slowly loosened on her shoulders, soreness spread where her fingers had been. I didn't know. How could I not have known? I need to go read it now, said Darla, spinning in place and immediately marching across the gravel lawn. At least until Siobhan channeled her inner wildebeest and screamed in anguish, Damn it, Darla, you crushed it! Siobhan spat, tearing the cigarillo out of the earth while simultaneously accidentally dropping the magnifying glass. The ancient tool, having seen generations of hands tumble to its demise, its wooden handle was lovingly carved and at one point stained a lovely cherry color, though it had faded with time. It had been put to good use for so long, then cast aside to be forgotten in boxes, traveling from house to house, estate sale to garage sale, to finally ending up under a trailer, lost and almost forgotten. The lens had seen countless things, and in that clear glass were countless tales. Now and forever it shattered and ceased to be. Shit! Cried Siobhan. At that moment, the door to the trailer blew open. Double shit! Cried Siobhan. Her mother flew out into the open air. Flip-flops flipped and flopped and slapped onto the miserable wooden porch. Wet ashen brown hair plastered to a frowning one-eyed face. The lack of her eye patch always made Darla cringe, her heart quickening in her chest. Braless and only wearing a white t-shirt with multiple holes in it, Siobhan's mother's eye rolled about wildly. She crossed her arms over herself and pointed a finger at her daughter. Siobhan, keep your mouth shut. You're going to draw attention from all the neighbors with all that screaming. You damn well know we don't want attention, now do we? Her mother hissed in a harsh whisper. To which Siobhan smartly shook her head. Darla saw this as a perfect opportunity to escape, and she started to step backwards when the rage of the mother dragon fell upon her. Where do you think you're going, slut? Asked the mother. Darla's jaw dropped, and she stamped her feet. What? I'm not a slut, Mrs. Sweet. You have to stop calling me that, or my mom says I need to stop coming over here. Mrs. Sweet stuck her tongue out and blew. Ha! She cackled. Your mother's an even bigger slut than yourself. Don't try to deny it, girl. I've seen the smut you read. You can't tell me you don't fiddle around in your knickers while you do it. Hentai dick smasher. The hell's with these modern fetishes? Now come back here. I made some peanut butter and bologna. Darla had to pummel back a wretch at the idea of such fare, but she obliged in so far she walked back over to the porch, her mind racing to think of an escape. I was just leaving because Siobhan was going to smoke some of your cigarettes, said Darla, trying to flash her most innocent eyes. Cigarillos, you traitor bitch, cried Siobhan, chomping wildly and waving her arms in a fury. She was going to spit out more, but Darla interrupted. I tried to convince her not to, Mrs. Sweet, but she said she could outsmoke anyone. Then she said something about being a Gorgira or some... First, Mrs. Sweet interrupted. Call me Evelyn, Darla. I'm not your mother, nor do I demand special privilege from you. Second, don't tell my Siobhan what she can and can't do. You damn well know this is a house of anarchy and she can do what she damn well pleases. With that, she tossed a small lighter plastered with a picture of peppermint candy to her daughter, who caught it with a laugh. Siobhan gave Darla a nice view of her middle finger before grabbing the carton of cigarillos again. She took out 4 of them and placed them into her mouth in a tight little bundle. It only took her to the third try to get the lighter to work, which Siobhan thought was quite impressive of herself, and she inhaled. There was an immediate full frontal assault upon her body. The smoke was as a billion flashing blades laced with sugar and cyanide marching down her throat hole, poking and prodding and immediately making Siobhan regret her decision. She choked it down, feeling as if her face was turning green as they did in the cartoons. Her eyelids flapped in defiance to the tears brewing there. Dark fingers seemed to claw at the edges of her vision, swirling and threatening to fade to blackness. Heat blossomed on her lips and down her neck until it invaded her entire body. She couldn't lose face. She had to pull it off, so she simply inhaled all the more. Her chest puffed out, reminding Darla once again that Siobhan would definitely lose their own personal cup-size competition. Then with a mighty roar that would impress even the nastiest of kaiju, she released the smoke in a massive torrent that billowed out of her mouth as well as her nose. She was quite sure she looked like a badass until she saw both her mother and Darla laughing uncontrollably. Slowly, one of her hands crept towards her face until it met her upper lip, where it came into contact with a massive wad of snot. Yelping, she tried to fling it away, alas to no avail as it spread between her fingers. She looked about helplessly as the last guffaws died out and her mother wiped a tear from her eye. You girls get inside, said Evelyn. We need to talk, Siobhan. You're going to school tomorrow, and you're getting your ninja star back.